Can we rock?
What's up, Doc?
Can we rock?
What's up, Doc?
I'm the hooper, the hyper, protected by a viper. When I rock the hoop, yo, you'd better decipher. In other words, you'd better make a funky decision. Cause I'ma be a shack knife and cut you with precision. Forget Tony Danza, I'm the boss. When it comes to money, I'm like Dick the Boss. Who's the first pick? Me, word is born in. Not a Christian Leitner, not Alonzo Mourning. That's okay, not being braggadocious. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Peace, I gotta go, I ain't no joke. Now I slam it, jam it, and make sure it's broke. Can we rock?
What's up, Doc?
Can we rock?
What's up, Doc?
Oh, here goes. And welcome to the 31st episode of Throwback Hoops. Please watch our video show on the Throwback Hoops video channel. And if you want to listen to the podcast, wherever you tune in, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, we're available everywhere. You would have just heard me drop Shaquille O'Neal's verse from Foosh Nicken's 1994 record, What's Up, Doc? And as always, I'm joined by my main man, Robbie Clayton. What's up, Doc? You like that?
I do. A bit of involvement with me and the guest today. I like to see it, mate. So, very good. Yeah, I certainly remember that song well. That was a good one, wasn't it?
Yeah, and when we did our big rap episode with Prabs, man, I forgot to mention Foosh Nickens as one of the groups that I really appreciated back then, man.
Yeah, they were definitely someone you liked a lot more than me back then, for sure.
Yeah, and Robbie, just got to give a quick shout out to our man JJ, Jacob Jacomus,
Definitely. I was messaging the coach of the Illawarra Hawks today and letting him know sort of how proud we are in that. So, yeah, it's great news, isn't it, for sure?
Right, Robbie. That's good of you to do that, my man. So we have a very special guest today, we got him to collaborate at the start on my rap, which was awesome. He's a budding young journalist. You can hear him on the NBL News podcast. He's also the creator of the Sporting Ground website. Let me tell you, Coach Scott Morrison of the Perth Wildcats knows exactly who this young man is. Jackson MacDonald is in the house. What's up, J-Mac?
I am very good. I still don't know if he actually knows who I am, but I'm very excited to be on this podcast. I've done a couple now, but I've been listening to this podcast for quite a while, so I'm very happy to be on.
I bet you none of the other podcasts you were involved in got you involved in a rap intro, did they?
No, nothing like this.
All right, man. It's great to have you.
Yeah.
To have you. Thanks for making the time, Jackson. So, when you come on Throwback Hoops, man, there's one thing you got to do. You got to showcase a jersey. And just looking there, you got a few hanging in the background. So, why don't you tell us a little story about what you got going on today? Yeah.
So, I've got a couple. So, I had to rep Nick Tan's Perth Bandits over there. And then I got a Damian Martin jersey from his 2016 Grand Final MVP season. And I'm wearing another Damian Martin jersey, this time from his final year playing. But the one I want to showcase is actually the first jersey that I've, ever got. And it's a Cam Tuvey jersey from, I want to say, 2012 when Perth moved to RAC. And it has all these signatures because, so at the church I used to go to, they used to run this youth group event. And they'd get the Perth Wildcats down to run this training camp, whatever you want to call it, at night. And like James Ennis, Damian Martin, I want to say Prather did one, Greg Heyer, all these guys came down. And just over the years and me going to a lot of games, I've got a bunch of signatures. So Drake UU, Damian Martin, Prather's on that one back there. But yeah, I've just got really fond memories of those times, and it shows through this.
Hey, Jackson, hold on to that even when you get old and well, I wouldn't say grey, but when you get old like me, because I still got my very first ever, which was a Ricky Grace jersey from probably I was 14 at the time or something when I got it. It's still very special to me, so definitely hold on to that one, mate.
Yeah, and I will.
We have enough Perth fans on this show, Robbie, man. Get another one coming on here, man. Yeah.
That's right,
at least
numbers.
At least we can get into it later because we're going to talk about the finals where my team's
I'm
involved.
I'm a friendly Perth fan. I don't bite.
Yeah, good.
I definitely do.
He does, man. He does. Nah, thanks, Jackson. Great of you to make that effort, man, and tell us the stories about your jersey and all your setup there looks fantastic. All right, Robbie, man. Over to you, brother.
All right, mate. I don't have any wraps. I don't have any old school Wildcats jerseys, but what I thought I'd do today, I thought I'd do the double jersey thing. One of my all-time favourite Atlanta Hawks. Now, I think when we named our favourites earlier in the year, he was like, I'm going to say third for me, I think, after Dominic and Josh Schmidt. So absolutely love JT, affectionately also known as the Jet. So look, the one I'm sort of hanging up today is an old school Reebok one, the Reebok Hawks away jersey there. Realised when I was looking through trying to pick these jerseys last night, Woods, 9 Jason Terry jerseys I had. So including a Brooklyn one, a Boston one, and a Dallas one, but I wasn't going to rep any of them tonight. So it's all about the Hawks. So I'll just quickly stand up and show you this one. Pretty cool colour combo on this one, but I'll just stand up and show you this one, and I'll talk a bit about him.
For sure, Robbie. So for all the audience that are listening and can't see, Robbie's wearing the old school Atlanta green Jason the Jet Terry jersey. Now, very rare, the green Atlanta Hawks jerseys. Where did you get that jersey from, Robbie?
I've had that one a long time, actually. It was definitely somewhere like from eBay in America back before the GST and all this crazy Australian US dollar thing happened. So, yeah, I've had this one probably close on 15 years, I'd say. But, yeah, I knew it was one you hadn't seen as well, Woods. It's, I don't tend to wear my Reebok ones a whole lot, I've got to say. They're not probably my favourite brand. But this particular one, it's a Hawks throwback from 1970 to 71. So, one of those ones where they kind of have the tag at the bottom. So, look, just a little bit about the Jet there, boys. 19 seasons in the NBA after getting drafted by Atlanta at pick 10 in the 99 draft out of Arizona. Woods, he was actually part of an early draft day trade that saw Mookie Blaylock get traded to Golden State. And we basically got Dwayne Farrell and the draft pick that ended up being Jason Terry back. So pretty interesting one there. As I said, he's known as the Jet. He played for the Hawks for 5 seasons before a really, really successful 8-year stint with Dallas.
Yep.
Then he ended his career with stints at Boston, Brooklyn, Houston, and Milwaukee. Funny, I barely remember him playing for Houston, but he was there a couple of years. Look, of course, he won that NBA championship in 2011 with the Mavs. He had a lot of big games in that series.
He did.
Also won 6th Man of the Year in 2009. He was also an NCAA champ with Arizona in 97. We've talked about that team a little bit before, I know, with Liam and a couple of other people. So they defeated Tucky in overtime, and that Arizona team had guys
Mike Bibby as well, right?
Yeah, Mike Bibby, Miles Simon, Michael Dickerson, and former NBL player Bennett Davidson. So, yeah, absolutely love the way the Jet went. He's on a lot of those lists of one of the best players to not, make an All-Star game as well. So,
I hear that.
19 seasons. I think he had... don't quote me on that. I think he might have had 4 seasons where he averaged 19 points something. So he never averaged over 20, but 4 seasons where he's averaging 19 plus, which is pretty impressive. So in terms of Terry, he was an assistant coach at his alma mater, Arizona. He's now the head coach of the Denver Nuggets G League team, the Grand Rapids Gold. So that's a little bit about Jason Terry. Now, Woods, I've got a Jason Terry.
I was just about to ask you, man.
Of course I do.
Of course you do, homie. Of course you do.
Nice Jet one there, wearing that same jersey that's hanging up in the background. This is one of those nice sort of fancy ball ones there with the Hawks logo on the court. He's looking pretty happy. Jet on that one there. Pretty lifelike, I've got to say.
Oh, hell yeah, man. Yeah. Hell yeah.
Looks pretty like him. So, yeah, that's my little tribute to Jason Terry. I've got to say, I've been wanting to do that for a while. And apologies to Jet that it took 31 episodes for someone I like so much, but we made it,
Hey, man, we hit up Mikhail McIntosh and, Josh Majet today on Twitter, and they liked that we wore their jerseys, right?
They were the first 2 people to even like that post, weren't they? I think that was pretty nice to see, wasn't it?
All right, so we'll hit up Jet and see if he responds to it during the week, all right? Yeah.
And what about you there, Woods? I think I can tell that's a Kings jersey. Why don't you show everyone what you're wearing today?
For sure. With the big game tomorrow, I thought only fitting I wear this one. So why don't you take everyone through it?
Yeah. So Woods is standing up wearing a Xavier Cooks Kings jersey. They've had so many different styles of jerseys this year, the Kings, so it's a bit hard to keep up. So probably a few teams have. But, yeah, that's a Kings guy that I really like there, Woods. I'm actually hoping he's only got a handful of NBL games left, to be honest, because I think he could definitely play a role in an NBA team there. So, yeah, what are you going to say? I know you like this guy. You got a photo with him a few years ago.
I do, man. He's a lovely guy. I remember his dad as well, with coaching the Illawarra Hawks, and his brother Dom Cooks as well at a sip of coffee in the NBL. But, I mean... Xavier Cooks has just been instrumental in the success of our team this year, and you talk about that Sean Marion type player, the NBL Sean Marion, the matrix of the NBL. This guy's a Swiss Army knife, man. He does a little bit of everything. He's hitting that open shot now, and having guys like Jalen Adams as his teammate hasn't hurt his stock rising this year. And yeah, I just think that he's going to have a big impact to play in this final series coming up. Jackson, what do you thought about what the X-Man has done this year for my Kings?
Well, he's finally hitting a jump shot, which is great to see. Like, he has all the tools now to make that leap to the NBA. And because last year, Kings had Jordan Hunter the entire year. And Cooks was out injured for, I want to say, good 3/4 of it. so he never actually got to play that much minutes. And with Hunter out this year, he's coming to his own at that 4 spot,
Yep.
and he goes up to the 5, sometimes comes down to the 3, and that's really helped him out. And he's a great rim protector. Even if he's not blocking shots, he's diverting shots. He's making people drive out or pass it out to somebody else and just continue that defensive pressure. And that's what's made him a really good player. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's not in an NBL jersey next year.
Yeah, as Robbie said. And Robbie, a bit unlucky not to make that all NBL first team, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, there's been a few people talking about that this year. Look, it probably came down to him and Vic Law. I mean, yeah, I'm not even going to really play the homer card. I think it was probably pretty equal there. I mean, yeah, I don't really have any issues with Law getting in there, to be honest. He was 3rd in the league in scoring and was pretty amazing when he was actually healthy. But I would have had no problems with X-Man making it as well. So, yeah,
sure.
I reckon that was a pretty close call for him there.
I like it. Thanks, guys, and thanks for your jerseys today. How about we just move into a bit of Q&A now with you, Jackson? You ready to chop it up with the Woodman and Robbie, or what?
I am more than happy to. Let's get into this.
All right. Let's do it, man. So, you live in Melbourne, right, man?
Yes.
All right. But you originally came from Perth, as everyone knows now, right?
Yes.
So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you're studying and how that move to Melbourne came about?
Yeah, so I'm studying sports journalism at La Trobe, and La Trobe University in Melbourne is like where a whole bunch of people that are in this industry go to. So, like, a bunch of people that work in the NBL went there. So I think the head media manager went there, and my mentor, Ben Waterworth, went there, and he's been very instrumental in me. He does WNBL commentary, and he's the head AFL media guy at Fox Sports here in Melbourne. So he went there, and he's basically the reason why I chose to go to La Trobe. And the reason why I moved to Melbourne, so back in 2015, 2016, so my parents are ministers in the Salvation Army, so they get moved around a fair bit.
Sure.
And so we got moved to Melbourne on a whatever you want. We just got moved to Melbourne, and I've been here for 7 years now. So January 2016, I want to say, is when we moved here, and I've been here through years 7 to 12 and now first year of university. And I think Melbourne is a spot I want to be for my career path going forward. So, yeah, I've just, even though it sucks being away from family and I haven't seen them for, 2 years because of Mark, and thanks a lot, mate. But, I think Melbourne's the place to be for where I want to end up.
Jackson, that's terrific that, you've got a vision and a direction that you're heading in life. So for all the audience, let them know, how old are you at the moment?
So I'm 18. So I turned 19 in September, late September. So I'm like really young. Like the one thing which I get from a lot of people when I tell them my age is just shock, because they usually think, oh, maybe he's, late university, or he just got out of university a couple of years later. But like, I just got out of high school. So when I told Joseph Core, NBL Pocket Pod, go listen to that, please, he was kind of in shock, but he kind of wasn't. And, like, he was expecting me to be, he told me I was expecting you to be like 24. But yeah, I've just got at this early, and I've been kicking at it for a while. And yeah, I've just been really enjoying what I'm doing. So.
Hey, Woody, you know what's funny there? So Jackson's less than half of your age, and he's still seen his team win more championships than you have, bro.
You were waiting for that,
it,
right?
Yeah.
You thought about that shit all week, Jackson, to come up with that, man. Right? All week. Yeah, man.
Like that, you like that.
Yeah, whatever. All right,
You'll add another one.
We've been very fortunate in Perth, so
yeah, it was pretty good. We'll get into the NBL talk a little bit later. Don't worry about that. All right. Okay, so that's a good segue. What I was about to say is we've spoken offline, and I've said the same thing. You're well beyond your years, right? And it comes across in the way you present yourself and speak. So that's kudos to you, and kudos to the way you're raised by your parents as well. So and you mentioned to me in Perth that it was your parents that took you to Wildcats game, and that's where your passion for the game developed initially. So tell us a little bit about that, because I think Robbie has the same thing. Early on in life, his parents took him to the game. So do I. So we'd like to hear that from you as well.
Yeah. So if you want to know the main reason why I support Perth, why I support any sporting team, it's my dad. Like, he's been... If you see me and how mad I'm with sports, you should see him. But, like, so... Mum and Dad went to Wildcats games at the old entertainment centre in the 90s, and, like, they fell off in the early 2000s, but when they heard that Perth were moving to the arena, like, I want to say 8 or 9-year-old me and my sister, we got memberships and we went the first year, and we just fell in love with it. And like, when we moved, it was probably, I wouldn't say tough, but it'd be like a thing which we miss about doing as a family, going to Wildcats games every week or so. Like, it was just really, really good fun. Except for that time, Josh, like, one of the last games I went to was the Josh Childress.
Yeah, all right.
You can actually, if you rewind it, there's a camera angle in which you can see me and my family. I should try and find, like, clip it up. But, like, there's a very young me in it. But, yeah, my parents are so instrumental in what I do. Like, even though I'm pursuing a not real job, or whatever you want to call it, like, they're still very, very supportive of me, and I can't thank them enough for doing that.
Yeah, and I mean, what you are pursuing is a real job, man. To focus on journalism and sports media, that's something very lucrative if you can do well at it. And the fact that at a young age you're putting your heart and soul into it and you're committed to the cause, that's mad respect, right, Robbie?
Absolutely. Credit to you, mate.
All right, so Jackson, we know that you feature on the NBL News podcast and also have your own website, you know. Why don't you tell the audience a little bit about your different initiatives you've got going on in your life at the moment? And obviously, we've spoken about it, but your aspirations to build a career out of this, right? As you just alluded to, right?
Yeah, so I've been writing on my website on and off for the past couple of years. It's kind of just been what would you say? Like, just a Kickstarter type of thing. Like, it wasn't really meant for anything big, but it's just there and I can write on it. And then I went to the Inner Sanctum for a bit, which is a sports writing website, and I got a bit of traction on that. And then Evan, who runs NBL News, like, he reached out to me, and Aiden, who I've been friends with for quite some time, reached out to me and said, hey, we're looking to add a third member to the podcast, and I was all for it. So I joined up with them, and the funny thing is about Evan, right, is that I knew him from high school, but I had no clue that he was the guy running the ship at NBL News. Like, I had no clue that he was the one doing all the accounts. So he was in the year above me. I knew who he was. I had friends that I hang out with that he was very close with, and I just had no clue. But then, as soon as I found out, we bonded like that, and it was just great. We all have great chemistry, three of us, and I think that's very evident in our podcast, and I've really enjoyed doing that type of stuff.
Awesome.
Very good. Well, Jackson, I've got a question for you there, man. So, look, I don't think you've been asked a question about the press conference with Scott Morrison for at least 2 hours, probably. So,
yeah.
Look, I was obviously, probably like everyone, following that with interest. I mean, you could see Morrison that whole interview sitting there, arms folded, looked like, fire coming out of his ears, sort of thing. Did you have any idea when you sort of asked what was, I think the whole of the country will, agree was a pretty legit question. Did you have any idea that he might have even reacted that way at all? Or?
Well, at the time, no, because it was around 12:30 over here. But that was just my mind being off. But I knew that like, especially after losing to Tassie by 2 points, I think it was, in like a close game in which they should have won, and it kind of affected their entire season.
Definitely.
Like, yeah, it is what it is, and I knew that he was angry at the loss, but I had no clue that he'd blast out like that, obviously. But look, my mentality when it comes to that stuff is, if you're not going to ask it, somebody else will, so you might as well get in first and ask it.
I was going to say on that, Jackson, do you think he might have reacted differently if it was like, a really well-known, established, older type journalist there? Do you think he may have been different? In fact, sort of pick on the young guy sort of thing, or you think he might have given that treatment to anyone?
Well, I don't think it'd be that case, but I think it would be a whole lot different if I'm there in person and he sees who I am and how old I am.
Yeah.
Rather than, because we don't have our cameras on in the Zoom when we go into the press conference. We don't, like, half the time they don't know who we are. Like, Craig O'Donoghue, who writes for the West Australian,
Good
like,
podcast too.
yeah, so I emailed him one time. This is prior to the whole Morrison incident. And he responded and he was saying, I was talking to Wildcats media guy about you the other day. Like, half the time we have no clue who these guys are that jump into the Zoom and ask questions. And, like, you've been probably one of the only ones that have actually, like, done some research on them and done all this stuff. And, like, yeah, this whole Morrison thing is kind of, I don't want to say put me on the map, but it's kind of put my name out there. I think I wouldn't be on this podcast, but if it wasn't for that, I mean, I would say otherwise maybe, but I've done all this stuff in the past couple of weeks and it's mainly been because people now know who I am and from that incident.
You took the words out of my mouth, J-Mac. So I was going to say, like, if the world didn't know who Jackson MacDonald was before that, they do now, right? And for whatever reasons, you know, it's a cliche, but things happen for a reason, right?
Yeah.
You know, sure, you know, he did blow up at you, but as a result of that, you know, it's increased your profile. And as a budding young journalist, as we discussed earlier, that's trying to make it in this industry, it's given you a foot in the door and given you opportunities which will give you exposure, which is going to no doubt help you in your career. So I have no doubt that you are going to be successful and make it. And when you look back on your career, you're going to remember that moment fondly, I would say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't look that bad now that it was only a 100k fine when you take into context all the other fines that have just happened.
Yeah.
Like the Buford. I know it's a completely different incident, but like the Buford fine, like it's.
I see the Wildcats have edited that press conference as well on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
There's no trace of it.
Yeah. So, the main thing I remember coming out of that press conference, I was in shock, but the main thing is that I always know that the NBL posts the press conferences like almost immediately after they're released. And it took them, I want to say, half an hour to 45 minutes to release that one because I had to bleep it out. And then I looked at the Wildcats one, which they put up on their YouTube channel, and they just removed the entire question. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. They're in damage control and, you know, they're just doing what they're paid to do. So,
sure.
Like,
I think his media training course starts next week anyway, so that's all good. I know I had a bit of a rant about that last week, which you heard there, Jackson. But look, I'm being totally sort of serious with that. I mean, you know, obviously we're talking separate things, what the guy's coaching ability is like and how he sort of treats people off the court and everything else like that. But I think it's very evident for people that have seen him all throughout this season that he really does need to do some media training and not try and think that everyone's out to get him. You know, people are there to ask legit questions to, like I said, they want to know the answers to these legit questions. So anyway, I've spoken too much about Scott Morrison these last few weeks. I appreciate the answer as well, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Jackson. Really appreciate it. And thanks for taking the time to answer all those questions. I think NBL finals tomorrow. So let's get into some NBL talk, shall we, guys?
Yes, far away.
All right, so you talk about the great stories in Australian basketball and Australian sport in general. And what the Tasmanian Jack Jumpers have done in their first NBL season is just... It's a Cinderella story. It's a fairy tale. Even my dad texted me and go, "What's going on, man? How did Tasmania make the finals?" Right? So people who didn't pay attention so much in the mainstream media to basketball are doing that now, right? So talk to me, guys. I know you watched that game 3 versus Melbourne, right? Maybe I'll throw over to you, Jackson, first. I mean, what were your thoughts?
Well, my thoughts on this entire situation first is that this should have never happened, but it has. Like, there was rumblings before, like, I want to say 18 months ago, that even though Tassie got the license to come in this season, that they were going to push it back because of COVID, but they went through with it, and look at how well they've done. And then to that game 3, like, I feel like Melbourne lost it when Delhi had to do his dental work a week prior. Like,
yep.
That cost him huge. When you look back at that,
yep, for sure.
You had Delhi getting rested. You had Golding riding the bench half the time. Agata was the only one that was really trying to do something. And Tassie just killed him. and that even though they lost game 1, that pushed all that momentum towards Tassie. And then Tassie win game 2 in home with Jack McVeigh hitting some very, very deep threes.
Yep.
And then they go into Melbourne, march into Melbourne, and I would say shock the world. Like, nobody would have saw it coming. Like, yes, Golding was out, but still, you can't deny Melbourne United.
What a fun game that was.
Oh, yeah.
Like, everyone was just on the edge of their seat watching that. And
Josh Adams from quarters 2 through 4. On fire.
Put on a show, didn't he?
Yeah.
You mentioned Jack McVeigh as well before. I reckon he'd be one of the best NBL players at horse, I reckon, the way that guy sort of puts up these one-legged shots and other stuff like that. Yeah, I wouldn't want to take him on. And probably Adams would be equally as good, I'd say. So.
Yeah, guys, and you look at that starting lineup, you know, Fabian Krislovic, all right, Matt Kenyon. They picked these guys up off the street, basically, and said, come start for an NBL team in a playoff game. Not really, but you get what I'm trying to say here, right? Yeah. Like, these guys are, basically, like, on the end of the bench at Cairns. Fabian Krislovic was a few years ago. Matt Kenyon had a huge injury at Brisbane, hasn't been seen since. So, I mean, Scott Roth has done a great job with these guys. That goes, that's been said by everyone in the mainstream basketball media. But I want to talk a little bit about what Liam Santa Maria says about Josh Majette being his favorite player in the NBL, right? These guys need to control the tempo of the game, slow it down, bring those games in the 70s and 80s and grind out wins, right? And Josh Majette, as you spoke about, Robbie, when you were talking about when he was wearing his jersey last week, about how he's a veteran import at 32 coming into this league, and he's been around the blocks, he knows what to do. I mean, he's that leader. He's that extension of Scott Roth on the floor, and he's had a big role to play in the success of this team this year. Maybe he ain't putting up 20 and 10 or whatever, or going for all the highlight plays, and whatnot, like maybe Josh Adams might deliver, but he's that leader, right?
Well said, Woods. Totally agree. I mean, he's going to be a really important part of this NBL finals, isn't he? It's hard to say. I think he's been a bit of a journeyman, played spot minutes in the NBA G League, so he probably doesn't have that real, final or grand final type experience per se, but obviously he's played in a lot of big games, and like you said, 32-year-old veteran, he's been in all these sorts of scenarios, so no, he's a great player to be leading them, for sure.
Yeah. Definitely, and since Will Magnay went out, my guy Mikhail McIntosh has played great. Given him a new lease on life, and I think all these guys contributing. Role players, just it's a sum of all the parts makes this team really good because everyone is willing to take on a specific role and play to the best of their ability. You guys agree with that?
Yes.
Absolutely. Are you buttering us all up with Tassie stuff now? You're going to crap on about the Kings for half an hour?
I was just trying to set it all up. Yeah.
Just on the McIntosh.
Yep.
Yeah, right. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this, but in the Tasmania Jack Jumpers Facebook fan group, or whatever you want to call it, his mother wrote a very, very good post about, like, the effects that the backlash of his, I want to say, first two-thirds of the season had on him and had on his mother, and it's a really, really good read if you get the time, because it goes into, like, how, like, nobody wants their, anybody that they're related to, or, mother, father, son, daughter, whoever, like, be affected like that. And it's a very, very good read. Like, it, people were calling for his head, like, I want to say for the entirety of the first half of the season. Like, they need a big man. They need a true centre. They don't need this small forward acting as a power forward. But it's worked out. Like, he put JLA on roller skates in that game 2 in that fourth quarter, and he's just shone on this team in particular of late.
Yeah, Jackson, I mean, it's funny you say that, because when he had that breakout 16-point game, that first game, I went up on Twitter and I said all these good things to say about him, because I was a big fan of his, even before the season started in our season previews. And when we had Liam on the show, I was saying, this guy, he's going to fly under the radar, he's going to be a good import. And I had a lot of great things to say about him. And his mom loved my tweet, re-quoted it, and then just wrote underneath it, like, thanks for supporting him, for all those guys who had his back. So, it makes sense now, right? That she would do something like that, because she came to his defense straight away when I had something good to say about him on Twitter. And we all got great mothers, right? So, if mom doesn't stand up for you, then who will, right? So, yeah, I hear that, man, right? All right, okay, now we had all this Tassie good stuff and, feel good story stuff, all that crap. Let's talk about my Kings a little bit, right? And, as a lifelong Kings fan, I looked at this team at the start of the season, and I said we're winning the championship with this roster, right? They swept a strong Illawarra Hawks team with relative ease. We've got great performances across the board from everyone. But the MVP Jalen Adams, man, you know how Ice Cube just says messed around and got a triple double, almost like the guy just went onto the court and just screwed around for a bit and had a triple double. Well, Jalen Adams had 59 points in 2 games, almost in his sleep, just chilling, doing his thing, and he's as good as we talked about Williams, right? Who did we speak about?
To Brad Rosen.
To Brad Rosen about
Williams,
Chris Williams potentially being the greatest import we've had, the greatest one and done import, along with the likes of Doug Overton, etc. We had a few names out there.
James Ennis, don't forget him.
James Ennis, will throw him into totally agree there. But Jalen Adams has to be right up there, and I think that it's very hard to see the Kings losing this series, right? So talk to me, Robbie.
No, I think it's a fair call, Woods, and it was interesting. We sort of did a few preview shows early on, and we were both quite high on Sydney, and we didn't get a lot of support for that, did we? We had a few people that I think maybe just thought because we lived in Sydney, we were sort of a little bit, focused on sort of things. So I think we sort of saw that. I think you're right, though. It is an amazing roster they've got there, Woods. Look, I'll try and say with a straight face that they have used the salary cap to full effect. They've got 3 imports that have had solid NBA stints, not just guys that have played a few games. I mean, they've got some solid guys there. They've got the two makers, Wani. They've got some real Aussie sort of talent there. So, but yeah, they were really impressive against the Hawks, weren't they? The thing that for me is they're such a high scoring team. I think you mentioned earlier in the show, Woods, about sort of trying to keep, for Tasmania to keep these finals games low scoring.
Yeah.
I think Tassie will need to score themselves maybe 85 to 90 a game to even get close to the Kings. I mean, you see the Kings, they can put up close to 100 points very easily there. So, yeah, Tassie are really going to have to sort of bring the scoring output as well and get those sort of points there. But, yeah, no, full credit for the Kings for making it. It's been a really good season for them.
JC?
Yeah.
Sorry, Jackson? Sorry.
No, I'm not Joseph. But
my bad.
Yeah. So when you came into the start of the season, people were having Southeast Melbourne and Illawarra as the top 2. Then you'd have Perth as because it's Perth. Then you'd have I want to say Melbourne and then Sydney in those other 2 spots. And Sydney has just outshone everybody in the past, last half of the season because of that amazing 13-game win streak and the connection that they've got since they've added in Ian Clark after RJ Hunter went down. So he's been incredible for him off the bench, and Wani, he's signed as a injury replacement player, not guaranteed to play any minutes this season, and he's played every single game, and he's started at least 3/4 of them.
Hey, Jackson, do you reckon we can get Sunday Detch or Wani back maybe to replace Kevin White or someone like that on the Wildcats?
Well,
Let's get one of them to go home maybe?
Sunday just signed a 3-year deal in Adelaide, and who knows with Wani, I think he may want to stay after the season he's had. But, Guy was riding the bench under Gleeson, only getting garbage time, and now he's starting, he's playing 30, high 20 minutes a game, and even though he's not putting the ball in the hoop, he's still having a very, very impactful role. And he may be the most important player for Sydney when it comes straight down to, stopping Adams or stopping Majette. Whoever.
Chase Buford's got to take a bit of credit, I think.
Absolutely.
Like you just said, Jackson, Wani was riding the bench for Gleeson there sort of thing. I mean, obviously, you've commented before. Woods, I think you might have asked the 2 of them a question.
I did.
You can see how much love that Buford has for Wani there. So, no, full credit to him for getting the best out of his player there.
Yeah, guys like Xavier Cooks and Wani Swakala-Bullock have really taken it to the next level under his tutelage, right? So, I mean, there were a lot of people doubting him at the start of the season, but I think he's really proven that he's a player's coach, as we've said before, right? Yeah. So, really happy for my Kings, and it's been a while since we've had a championship here. You got to go back 15, 16 years now. So, I mean, the arena is going to be pumping tomorrow. It's Thursday, the 5th of May. So, just while we're recording this, and we'll be out of the game tomorrow, and huge crowd expected, and really excited to get out there and support my team. Yeah. Give it to you Perth fans for once, Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. Well, thanks, J-Mac. Thanks, Robbie. So I must say that, work's been really difficult and hard for me lately. So during the daytime, I haven't been able to catch as many NBA games as I would have liked in this most recent round, right? I did watch the first round with close intent. So maybe I'll throw over to you, Robbie, and tell us a little bit about what you've seen in the NBA playoffs.
Hey, Woods, I just want to rewind it back one little bit there, just with our predictions for the final. I think we might have all stepped offline last night.
My bad.
3-1 for the Kings. Just seeing if anyone's going to change it. I'm sticking with 3-1.
3-1.
3-2.
Ooh,
you changed overnight, Jackson. All right, my bad, yeah.
I just think Tassie, they may be too strong at home, but I think they can't beat Sydney on the road. Sydney have too much firepower.
I'm going to change it. 3-0. Sydney's doing the sweep.
All right,
Sydney's doing the sweep.
3-0, a 3-1, and a 3-2. All right,
yep.
I'll watch that with interest. All right, sorry to cut you off, Woods. You're asking about
No, go on. Okay, so I was asking about the NBA and what you've seen over the last week, man.
Yeah, well, I think it's been a pretty interesting round two so far. It feels like we haven't had a lot of close games. I was working all day today, pretty busy day, so sort of was barely following the scores, but saw the final scores and you know what? I don't even know if I'm going to bother watching one of those games tonight. They haven't been the most exciting games. The series I'm probably finding most interesting so far in round two is the Bucks and Celtics series. Very impressed by the Bucks in game one, obviously, getting that big win in Boston there. And game two, obviously the Celtics came out and looked like the team that we sort of expected them to look there. So that's potentially the series I think may go the longest there. Probably the more I watch Milwaukee in the playoffs actually and Golden State, can't help but think I wouldn't, I'd love to see those two teams in the finals. That'd be pretty exciting. I don't think I want to see the old Phoenix-Milwaukee replay. So if I could sort of choose and who I think would make a really good finals there, it'd be the Bucks versus Warriors. Yeah,
it's funny you say that. I just think that since the Time Lord is back and playing, that the Boston Celtics might just take out that series without your man Chris Middleton being there. Yep, and I might see a Golden State-Boston finals. I mean, that's just something that I'm thinking. But, that's what we're here for, to have differing opinions sometimes, and we'll see how it plays out. J-Mac, what you seen?
Don't sleep on Memphis.
Oh, really?
Ja Morant is outscoring Steph Curry and Klay Thompson combined after the first two games. Right, he's unstoppable. The guy had 47, 8, and 8, I believe, yesterday.
Wow, yeah, I saw that.
But he puts up big numbers. He puts the team on his back, yes and no, but you can debate about that. But he's just a stud. He is a leader. He is a star player. Yeah. And I think New Orleans may be regretting taking Zion over him.
Hey, he can hit the three now as well, can't he? He hit 5 threes the other day. That was always the knock on him. Everyone knew how explosive he was, but how good is he on the left hand as well? I know he missed that potential winning shot in game one, but very impressive on the left there. But no, good call, Jason, for sure.
I just think that if Golden State can't shut him down, you might as well say Memphis are going to win. I don't know in how many games, but they're the 2 seed for a reason, and it's just going to be really, really tough for either team to get out of the series unscathed.
So, Jackson, are you saying that all-star starter for Golden State, none other than Andrew Wiggins, isn't going to step up and just kill it this series? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, I forgot about that.
I'm trying to forget.
He keeps going on about it, man. Robbie.
Ridiculous, honestly. That just shows you that fans shouldn't vote. That's what a load of crap, honestly.
Just like that and the Kai Soto NBL fans MVP.
Oh my God, don't start me on that, man.
Did anyone in Australia vote for him? Or was this one from the Philippines, I think?
Well, one person did, I believe, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, my new boss is from the Philippines, and I was having a go at him. I'm like, mate, come on, man. They got to get people from the Philippines to stop voting for Kai Soto, right? I mean, it's not really fair, right? But I mean, by the same token, there's Chinese players in the league and whatnot. At least they got behind their local product, right? But it should be renamed maybe the most popular player or something like that, not the fans MVP, right?
Or just replace it entirely with Dunk of the Year. I just think
you
if the
said that
AFL
before.
can have Mark of the Year, why don't you have Dunk of the Year? Because we've seen the Creek dunk, we've seen Cleveland go upstairs, we've seen McCall go upstairs, we've seen
Pinder a few times. Pinder a few times.
More than, I want to say, 10 times.
Yeah.
And it's just been explosive this year, and why they did not have an award for that, I have no clue, but that's just me.
So just bringing it back to the NBA a little bit, guys. We saw the incident between Dylan Brooks and Peyton, right? Give us your thoughts on that and how that played
Has
out.
there been a suspension yet? I know, obviously, I heard Payton's out for 3 weeks and it looked pretty bad. But yeah, has there been any suspension handed down for Brooks yet?
Let's have a look.
Because I heard sort of some people saying, look, it'll definitely be 1 game.
Yeah, he's been suspended. Yep.
Potentially 2. I wouldn't be disappointed to see 2. I mean, he's shown a little bit of form in the past with this Dylan Brooks as well. But, that was a...
Nah, the suspension hasn't come through yet. Yeah.
So that
If
shows you,
there is
obviously,
one.
they're deliberating that a little bit more than normal, aren't they? Sort of getting... Because they usually would have made a decision by now, I think. But, yeah, interesting.
Yeah. And I did get to watch the last quarter of that Suns-Dallas game today. It's 2-0. Suns ahead of Dallas. Devin Booker back fit alongside Chris Paul and old man Bismack Biyombo playing some minutes off the bench today. So good to see the veteran go out there.
I feel sorry for the Mavs. They need someone else to
Yeah.
step up. Like Brunson's been awful this season so far, and Dinwiddie hasn't been much better. So I think Dallas is lacking that one other star. If they could somehow get one in the offseason, I don't know what trade chips they've got, but they could definitely. I mean, you just put one other good player with a talent like Luka, and they could do something. But they just look overmatched in this series, don't they?
Definitely, yeah. All right, well, thanks, boys. Really appreciate that. Let's just see how it plays out over the coming week. Exciting times ahead in the NBL and the NBA, right?
And it's NBL only tomorrow, isn't it? There's no NBA playoff game, so it's only the big game 1 in the NBL tomorrow. So
very
hopefully
excited.
the whole of the country will be watching that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so it's that time.
Well, hey, Jackson, are you ready for this?
Oh boy, let's see if my age really shows itself.
Okay, I said that you're well beyond your years, Jackson, right? And
I know, but you may have just hyped it up a bit too much.
we were talking about that
Gotcha, it's all right.
Jason Terry, Mike Bibby college team, and you seemed like you knew what was up. So, I mean, yeah. All right. So we got the Upper Deck 91-92 edition. All right.
I want that hologram card this week. Get a hologram card. Hologram insert.
Yep, and I've got about 15 mixed packs arriving in the post pretty soon. Stu, I'm going to say, mix of various different packs across the 90s. Stu, I'm going to send you a couple of packs to WA. Don't worry, man. I told you I would.
I like it.
All right.
Oh, we want a big pack here today.
Big pack. And obviously, if it's an easy one, I think that Jackson
the sound
can get
effects
it.
coming through the microphone too. We've said that before. In case people think this is like an open pack, it's definitely not. Nice and crisp that sounds as well.
This is not scripted.
Nah, definitely not.
Definitely not scripted. So let's leave this one for Jackson, okay? Phoenix Suns player, West All-Star, okay? Point guard, a terrific point guard. Later moved into politics, okay? Played alongside Dan Marley, Charles Barkley, Danny Ainge, Oliver Miller, if I'm not mistaken, Robbie, correct? Yes?
Yep.
I'm speaking of who? The mayor of Sacramento?
Exactly right.
The mayor of Sacramento.
Oh, his name is escaping me, but I
His
can see the
nicknames
face.
and initials, if that gives you a clue.
Nah,
Number 7,
his name's escaping me.
West All-Star,
Kevin Johnson.
Kevin Johnson.
Nice. Look at those all-star cards here. He was quality. Who can't forget that dunk he did over Akeem Olajuwon? I think that was a playoff game too, down the baseline. Great play there.
Oh, hell yeah, man.
Drafted by the Cavs, wasn't he, KJ?
Yeah. YouTube it, Jackson.
Yep.
All right, okay. Come on, Jackson, you got to get this one. Okay. We just mentioned his name as one of the greatest one-year wonders in NBL history, okay?
Oh, no.
Played for the Illawarra Hawks, okay, alongside Melvin Thomas, Chuck Harmison. I think Andre Lafleur might have been on that team. He might have been at the Rollers by that time, but even Terry Johnson maybe on that team? I don't know.
TJ.
Yeah, future guest on our show, okay?
Yep.
He played with Andrew Gaze at Washington, but this is his Pistons card. We're speaking of none other than NBA draft pick.
Oh boy, great.
I'll help you out, mate. None other than Doug Overton.
Doug Overton.
Wow, cool card, that one.
And how cool is it the NBL alumni we're pulling in these NBA? We got ACL last week.
Yep.
And who else did we get recently? Evers
Burns.
Evers Burns we got, right?
Yeah.
Okay, this one, I don't know if this is something you'll know, Jackson.
Look.
But go steals for fun, man. This is an East All-Stars, Milwaukee Bucks.
Alvin Robertson.
Robbie just gets everything.
Got a triple-double with steals once, I believe.
Yeah, he did. He did.
10 or more steals.
Okay. Boston Celtics. His name is, playing blackjack at the casino, man. You know, at the table. What are you doing, man? What do I always do? Hey, Jackson, what was I doing the other day and sending you my multis on? What was I doing?
Oh, gambling.
Kevin Gamble.
Kevin Gamble.
Always worries me when they can't get a card of him actually playing in the game there. So it's a bit random, isn't it?
yeah.
Riding the bench.
Yeah.
Okay, you know this guy. Big bruising player for the Phoenix Suns in the 90s. 6'10". You've mentioned his name on the show before, Robbie. Played on those teams as well alongside Kevin Johnson, Charles Barkley, early 90s.
Not Hot Plate Williams.
No.
Richard Dumas, Mark
No,
West.
Mark West, baby. Yeah.
That's the big man. Yep.
Yeah.
We've had a few of his cards in different packs, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Okay, you know I love this guy, man. You know, because he was on that Clippers team with none other than Danny Manning, right? Okay.
Great.
Then he moved to the Knicks. All right. We know about the famous incident with the Knicks.
A few fakes, couple of block shots.
Yeah. Who am I talking about?
Boring surname. Yep. Yeah, Charles Smith.
Charles Smith.
Nice.
What a legend. Do you have a jersey of his?
No.
Okay.
Got a few Josh Smiths though. You might have heard.
Yeah. How many do you have?
20 something.
So he's got 20 Josh Smith jerseys, 9 Jason Terry jerseys, Jackson. Right?
Oh my gosh, right.
All right, this guy, I'm pretty sure he became a GM later of the Charlotte Bobcats. His son potentially played for the Charlotte Bobcats as well. Rod Higgins.
Oh, yeah.
Am I wrong in saying that?
Higgins. He, what college was he? Was he North Carolina?
Fresno State.
Fresno, okay. But he's mates with Jordan, isn't he? Rod
Yeah.
Higgins?
I'm pretty sure that he did like have a front office role, if not the GM role at the Charlotte Bobcats role. Hey, Stu, correct me if I'm wrong.
Stu will, yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Shout out to Stu.
Okay, come on, man. You had his jersey on the show a few weeks ago. Okay?
The Rifleman.
The Rifleman, Chuck Person.
Nice.
So for Jackson, who doesn't know much about Chuck Person, Rob, let Jackson know about this man. Like before there was the marksman that we have in today's game. Who was the original marksman, right?
So he's definitely one of them. One of those real irrational confidence guys who just never saw a shot that he didn't like, had range for days, sort of thing. And he was a little bit ahead of his time too, because he was a bigger sort of guy that could shoot that as well. But yeah, great player.
Okay, I've given you this one before and you've got it wrong. And he's one of my favorites. Had problems with cocaine. Got the big goggles. Died not too long ago. All right, played for the Lakers. Played for the Denver Nuggets. All right, played for the Chicago Bulls. Okay, big goggles.
So not Bedford, right?
No, come on, man. Big goggles, kind of looks a bit like Kareem Abdul-Jabbar or like bruising. He was on that Bulls team that Michael Jordan talks about in The Last Dance about the traveling cocaine club or whatever. He was put into rehab and stuff. Okay, his first name is the city of an NBA team. Who am I speaking of? Come on, Robbie. I've stumped you on this same guy before.
I've gone blank with him as well.
All right.
What number? Jersey number?
0.
Oh, Orlando Woolridge.
Orlando Woolridge.
Nice, that classic Nuggets jersey as well.
Yeah,
right?
love that, man.
Yeah.
I want them to bring that back. That jersey is just...
I remember him more as a power forward than a big guy, though. Woods, when you say big guy, I'm thinking some 7'1" center or something. But I remember Orlando.
Yeah, but I talked to you about the glasses.
But what is he? 6'8"?
6'10".
6'10". All right.
Yeah,
In between. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, we've got this guy's card before. He was sick and tired of his name, so he changed the spelling of it. All right.
Oh, Elijah one.
No.
Oh.
Catholic name. Okay, he changed it to an EN from an ON. Okay, number 33, Philadelphia 76ers.
33.
Stu, yeah?
Hersey Hawkins, no?
Armand Gilliam.
Armand.
Yeah, this is when he was Armand. He changed it to Armand later in his
So he wanted to go from a French bloke to an American. What have they got his weight as on the back of that, Woods? He's a pretty big unit.
230, 6'9".
230, okay.
Yeah.
Might have been more than that.
All right, next forward, I don't even know this guy. 6'8", 12 points a game in the 89-90 season. Then 7.6 points playing the forward position. drafted by Philly, 1985,
What number?
number 30.
30, not Roy Hinson.
Derek Gervin.
Oh, yeah. We had him the other day too.
Did we?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we did. Maybe the week at, I forget who was on, but we had a guest that week and we had him. That's a random one. So he disappeared out of the league for someone that got average 12 in a season, right?
And this is one I've never heard of. Orlando Magic's averaged 11.2 points a game in 89-90, 1991. Number 11, 6'2" point guard from Michigan State.
Michigan State, 6'2".
Drafted in 84, I think. Sam Vincent.
Oh, of course. He was the one in that famous NBA card where Jordan's wearing that strange number.
Right.
So there's actually, like, they had to make a new card, obviously, because it was a Sam Vincent one with Jordan wearing, I think, 12, I think it might have been. It was when someone stole his jersey, basically, before the game. So they actually issued a separate card of Sam Vincent, and that one of those cards is worth more than the others. But, yeah. Still no hologram.
Only you would know that, Robbie.
Of course.
It's been a really fun show, guys. You had fun?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And how's it been, Jackson, being on Throwback Hoops for the first time?
I've really enjoyed it, besides my lack of 90s knowledge because I wasn't born. But
Good excuse.
yeah, I've really enjoyed the chat. I've had really good fun with this. So thanks for having me on.
Didn't you say you were going to yell at him, Woody, at one stage in the show tonight?
Oh, yeah, I was,
anything
man.
you didn't like, you were going to yell at him and ask him if he knows anything about basketball and stuff
Yeah,
like
I was.
that.
But Robbie made enough wisecracks throughout the episode, man. So you kept my
nice.
attention, man.
That's what I'm here for.
Giving me shit about this and that. So, you took my attention. Man, look, come on, man. I'm not going to rag on the youngster. We like bigger brothers to Jackson, right? We're going to look after the little homie, right? So, no, none of that. Okay, so Rob, why don't you tell the audience a little bit about, where we can be found and all that jazz, right?
Yeah, of course, guys. So reach out to us on Twitter. We're at Throwbacks Hoops. We've been pretty active on Twitter lately, haven't we? We're sort of putting more stuff out, lots of content. On Instagram, we're at throwback.hoops. Of course, the email address there is throwbackhoopspodcast@gmail.com. So feel free to send in any questions, jersey requests, anything you want there. Questions about Woody's internet, anything you want. So, yeah.
My internet's been great today, man. What you talking about?
Good. Well, you got your wife off Netflix on the Wi-Fi, so that's good.
Yeah, and I've got the Ethernet cable plugged in today,
You
right?
got it plugged in, have you?
Yeah,
Nice.
Rachel's got off the TikTok today. Okay,
No
all right.
expense.
Patreon as well. We've really had a few more subscribers on Patreon, so we thank you for that. Appreciate it. Jump on Patreon, look for Throwback Hoops, and if you want to pledge your support, we'd appreciate it. Yeah, and we'll hook you up with a mug or a T-shirt or something like that, right, Robbie?
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay. All right, J-Mac, give yourself a plug, homie.
Yep, so you can find me on the NBL News podcast. It's on the NBL News socials. They're pretty prominent. They're pretty easy to find. You can follow me on Twitter at jmacdonald91, and you can go to my website, Sporting Round, and check me out there. And I think that's pretty much it. So
Awesome.
I thank you for having me on, guys. I've really enjoyed my time.
It's been great having you, Jackson, and as I said, wish you nothing but the best. Both Robbie and I are here for you if you need anyone to talk to or any advice. We'll do our best to sort of, as bigger brothers, as I mentioned earlier, to give you some of that wisdom, whatever we can pass on, right? And Robbie, any final thoughts, bro?
Just for you there, Woods, behave yourself, mate. It's a Friday night. It's game one. I know you're going to be having a big night tomorrow night.
Don't get thrown out.
Exactly.
That is not going to happen.
Behave yourself.
I mean,
enjoy it. Right?
both things aren't going to happen. Okay, I'm not going to behave myself, one, and two, I'm not going to get thrown out. But yeah,
true.
gonna have fun.
Have a good time anyway.
And thanks everyone, for tuning in. We're going to do it all again next week, aren't we?
Peace out. Can't wait.
Much love.